According to Google, Gojo is confirmed to be a black character with albinism, and Gojo fans are mad about this.
When a Japanese creator wants to put black characters in her story and she creates a black man who's on the lighter side, people run to the comments to say that he's anything but black.
Why? I saw this post on Instagram and it genuinely irritated my soul so much that I had to make a video on it. Someone made this cartoon saying fuck Disney and fuck that stupid black mermaid. We should support our own black creative stories and ideas and build our own thing. And then on the bottom panel, it shows, I guess, a black creator saying, hey, would you like to support my black owned comic book? It's only $5. And the person saying $5 for a silly comic book with a character no one has ever heard of, no thanks. And basically the gist of the whole thing is that black people say that they want to see more black characters, they want more black representation, and they want more black owned stories and black owned characters. But then when people create black owned characters and they're black owned IPs, they don't want to support it. And I think what's really irritating me the most about this is that I think it's like the entitlement for me. And right now I'm talking directly to black people, black creators, and black artists. If you don't fall under this category, then you can scroll away. I'm not talking to you. I really don't care how this makes anybody feel, but the fact of the matter is that A, this completely lacks any level of nuance, and it just kind of seems like cope from a black artist who's not seeing the support that they want, so they're blaming black nerds for it. First of all, it's not lost on me that whoever drew this made a black woman the villain in this little cartoon of theirs. I don't want to assume intent, but it kind of seems like an intentional decision, which right off the bat, why did you feel the need to do that? But I'm not even going to dwell on that point. Regardless, black nerds are some of the most supportive people in the entire nerd community, especially when it comes to black creatives, black writers, and black artists. So many black nerds will literally support anything as long as there's black people in it. I mean, look at the whole thing with black people rallying behind Gachiakuta, despite the fact there's only like 2 black people in the entire series and 1 racially ambiguous character. So if as a black creative, you're not seeing the support that you want to see, black nerds are not to blame for your failure. And frankly, this kind of entitlement is just kind of like sickening, to be honest, because nobody owes you support because you're black, especially black nerds. Black nerds do not owe you support because you're black. So if you're writing or creating a black character-led story, you should be doing it because that's what you want to do. You want to represent black characters. You want to depict black people positively. You want to draw black characters, not because you think the black community automatically owes you support because you're a black guy making a black thing. Of course, it's nice for black people to rally behind black artists and black projects, which they already do, but that's not a guarantee, and they don't owe you that. So like I said, this just kind of seems like cope from a black artist who's not seeing the support that they would like to see. And to that, all I have to say is, you can either get better at marketing or make a better product. But blaming black nerds for your failure is frankly just cope. Black nerds show up and show out for black creators, and that is a fact. And even if they weren't, they don't owe you that. Make a better product. I don't know how I feel about this. According to Google, Gojo is confirmed to be a black character with albinism, and Gojo fans are mad about this. So if you go to Google and look up what race is Gojo, this is what comes up. He has become a fan favorite, admired for his strength, wit, and inexplicable persona. Yet what sets Gojo apart from many of his anime counterparts is his very distinctive and thought-provoking detail, his identity as a black man. According to Google, Gojo is black. This is because Gojo has albinism. That explains Gojo's white skin and white hair. It is known that people with albinism have white skin and white hair because their skin and hair don't have any melanin. Because of course how dark your skin is and how dark your hair is, and even your eyes, is based on how much melanin you have. That also explains why Gojo has blue eyes. People with complete albinism, even ocular albinism, have blue eyes. Because again, having blue eyes is because you have no melanin in your eyes. This also explains why Gojo is always covering his eyes. It is known that people with ocular albinism, their eyes are incredibly sensitive to the sun, so they always have to wear eye coverings. This is why Gojo's always wearing a blindfold or always wearing sunglasses, to protect his eyes from the UV radiation of the sun.
I got one more opinion on that whole why is there no black people in anime thing. Bro, I don't want no motherfucking Asian writing about being black or black issues in his manga. I promise you I don't. Just like I don't listen to white people rap, because that's a black thing. I do not want an Asian trying to tell me about the black experience. I don't want his nuance. I don't want none of that. So while I agree with the sentiment, that's like asking Keanu Reeves to do a fucking Medea movie. It doesn't make sense. Why would Keanu Reeves be in a Tyler Perry movie? It's the same concept. Why would an Asian person, specifically Japanese, where they are extremely xenophobic and racist, want to include somebody like me or you in their manga at all? That doesn't make sense. Not to mention, people are trying to use these outliers like Vinland Saga and Berserk to try to justify, well, there's a lot of white people in anime. Well, those are outliers. Those are not the rule. Do you know how many isekais, romances, and slice of life animes I can name that have only Japanese people? You taking 4 anime and then trying to extrapolate that to the entire genre of anime and talk about how white people got more love than black people is just fucking wrong. You naming 4 manga that have to do with European ideas like the fucking Vikings and shit, and then trying to pretend like that's all of anime and manga is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. Y'all need to stop trying to argue outliers. That is not the rule. A Japanese person is going to write about being Japanese. Why would you want a Japanese person to talk about being black or discuss black ideas? That does not make sense. That is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. And I don't mean to keep harping on this. I just keep seeing these takes. And they're just bad takes. Why would you want a person of color who is not your color to talk about you? That does not make sense.
Hey guys, good day. It's Ozzy and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, a lot of people are arguing that there are not enough black characters in the anime series that are being released. And they're having, a fit about it. Everybody's saying that there should be more inclusivity. I mean, there should be more black characters in these animes because we, as black people, we actually watch these things. And there are also some characters that are actually black, and different people they are saying that they cannot be black. They have to not be black. So keep watching the video and tell me what you think about it.
Are there any characters in which aren't black, very obviously aren't black, but you still gonna claim them as black in your mind?
Kenpachi's black. I don't care. I don't care. Kenpachi is black.
Instantly.
Kenpachi is black. I don't. I've had this argument. I don't care.
You know who else is super black to me? Zabuza. That's it.
Oh, that's
Zabuza's
black. That's
Zabuza's
actually
black.
Yeah. Zabuza, I claim him as black. You know who else? I will die about this. I know wholeheartedly they're not black, but I don't care. Sokka and Katara will always be black to me.
Sokka and Katara are black.
Sokka and Katara will always be
Doesn't
black
matter.
to me, bro.
Sokka's a
Yeah, they will always be black to me, bro.
Absolutely.
like,
I don't care.
There was no doubt in my mind that is a black man.
Sokka and Katara, they black as hell to me, bro. I don't know why, but specifically Katara in the Fire Nation felt even more black,
just
bro.
even more
When
black.
she was in her Fire Nation fit, I was like, yeah,
Like,
she's
she's
super black.
Clearly black.
When a Japanese creator wants to put black characters in her story and she creates a black man who's on the lighter side, people run to the comments to say that he's anything but black.
White people, you shall never be able to to fucking cosplay as literally 99% anime characters then, because they're not white. You know, if you watch, let's say, Solo Leveling, they actually have white characters in there, and you will see that they're not Japanese. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the Japanese people who, I don't know if you know this, but Japanese people are actually very fair-skinned in of themselves. They can be very light-skinned. Guess they're not white. I know you want them to be, but they're not. They're not white. They're a completely whole other set of genes, bro. Whole other gene pool of people. And so by these standards, you shouldn't be able to cosplay pretty much as like 99% of anime characters because they're not making white people when they draw them. I don't know when's the last time you saw a white guy with hair that looked like this. White people hair can't stand up, bro. I don't know if you know that.
Did y'all ever notice how Oda completely refuses to draw black characters? Like, it literally makes no sense to me because when you look at the anime and then you look at the manga art, all the characters who you would assume are black based on their coloring in the anime are not. You have this one dude from the Buggy Pirates who's black in the anime, but then when you look at the canon artwork, he's not. Same thing with Usopp, this is his canon colors in the manga. Aokiji, same story. Even when you look at his Afrocentric features like his nappy hair, his big nose and his big lips, but for whatever reason, he's just colored white. Same with Dazbones, colored white, even though he's colored like this in the anime. Lucky Roo, same thing. Yasop, Usopp's dad, same thing. And it's weird because as far as I'm aware, Oda oversees the anime and the live action. He literally oversaw the casting for the live action. In the live action, Lucky Roo was black, Usopp was black, Nojiko was black. Even someone like Blackbeard, who I thought it was completely like not negotiable, this guy is obviously black. When you look at his canon colors in the manga, he's not. But then it's weird because it's like, why are you making these characters black in the anime and in the live action, but just refusing to color them black in the manga? Like, does he have something against just coloring characters brown? And obviously he's not a bigot because he was making characters of color, queer characters, representing all types of cultures, long before that was a thing that people even did. But then it's weird because it's like, does he just not like using the color brown? Like, does anybody know?
So I get asked all the time, hey, King Lion, how come you don't talk about anime much? And you know what? To that question, I have a question of my own. For black anime fans only, nobody else. In the last 30 years, can you give me 15 black characters who are not only the main MC of an anime, but a mainstream anime?
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Some of you guys are misinterpreting his words, and that is okay. The main reason and purpose behind his video is to emphasize on the cold hard fact that anime does not have enough black representation. And after many years of watching anime, long before this new era of hyped up kids, he has recognized that some of the most popular anime do not represent black characters well. They feel more like facsimiles or caricatures. Now he asks us a very basic question. Can we name 15 black anime protagonists that are quote unquote mainstream? The simple answer to that question would be no. But the longer answer is a bit tricky because we do have a few fantastic black anime protagonists like Afro Samurai. We also have shows like Yusuke, which have historical relevance and accuracy as he was the first black samurai. Beautifully written shows like Carol and Tuesday, Carol being one of the most solid black women in all of anime. I don't want to say this is a if you know anime, but Basquatch is a great time and there's no way you can tell me that Miyuki is not a black girl. She quite literally carried that show. Billy and Sam from Cannon Busters are for sure black. These two have some of the best ride or die energy in anime. One of my first anime crushes was Michiko from Michiko and Hachan, because she is literally a fictional carbon copy of my woman crush forever, Aaliyah. I'm not here to argue. One of the original unks of anime was my dog Dutch from Black Lagoon. He was one of the first brothers I seen that was actually rocking that ski bobble and made it look good. He was not to be played with.
Shut the fuck up! Motherfucker, I got a ball head!
On the other end of that spectrum, we have brothers who have arguably the most broken hair in anime with Boba. You're talking about one of the newer shows, then you gotta watch Castlevania Nocturne. The design and backstory of my girl Annette was enough to keep me to watch 2 seasons alone. I know a lot of you guys are focused on the political and economical state of the world right now, but my boy Kaz from Neo Yoko is too. This can trace all the way back to 90s classics like Revolutionary Girl Utena. A story of forbidden love and the developing relationship between a knight and a princess. I don't know about everybody else, but I do enjoy me some Bakugan. And when they released the Battle Planet, we got introduced to my boy Winton, and he's a vibe. Another thing that's very hard to find in anime is a complete black family, and he has 2 loving parents and a little sister. And if you want to see black excellence, look no further than Nils Yajima from the Gundam Wing series. That MFer has 3 PhDs and is a prodigy by definition. And I just can't skip over the absolute truth about one of the few stories that is consistently argued to be the greatest anime of all time. Guts and Griffith having one of the 3 greatest rivalries in all of fiction. Both of them consistently going to hell and back for a black woman. One of the main reasons a lot of people got into this show is because they wanted to see the developing relationship between Casca and Guts. In a literal hellscape where they have demons and monsters of the worst type, their relationship is still intimate, but innocent. It's wholesome. You can see the imagery, and the way she goes about showing her affection to him is beautiful. And this is where I would throw in my only counter argument to Lion's statement. Because the anime community is so tensile towards the idea of a black anime protagonist, writers have created a unique scenario where anime has the greatest black antagonist of all time. Blackbeard from One Piece is one of the most well-written bad guys that anime has to offer. Enrico Pucci from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has one of the top 5 character designs ever. It only took one episode of me seeing Jabber from Gachiakuta for me to know instantly that his character is goated. One thing for sure and two things for certain, I know you don't want to smoke with Coffee from Cowboy Bebop. Isaac from the original Castlevania series, one of the most unique and fascinating characters that series had to offer. There are monsters that are respected throughout their entire universe, like Acnologia. And we even have characters who became black, like Lord Genome from Gurren Lagann. I done had a few uncles look at me like that a few times. I'm like, don't get mad at me because you bald and can't grow a full beard. And I would be a fool if I didn't put Merrick and Ishtar from Yu-Gi-Oh! In here. This brother's energy is unmatched and his fits are always clean. I'm surprised I don't see them getting cosplayed more often because what? And I could go on for another 5 minutes talking about the complexity of the black villains in the Big 3 anime, but that's nowhere near the point of this video. King Lion is absolutely correct when he says we need more black representation when it comes to anime. This is exactly why we see black creators taking the fight into their own hand. Guys like King Lion, Impound Comics, Ace Blade, ND, Ty Davis, all doing their own stories. Because I, as well as they, remember not too long ago that a lot of our black characters in anime looked like this. Even though this Midnight Baby is adorable, it is also unacceptable because why is this even a thing? So when he says he does not want to support anime because it does not have the right amount of representation, he has the right to do so. I can't even be mad at him, especially when they're throwing out art like this. Shout out to the Webtoon Ordeal. But those are just my thoughts on the topic. You gotta let me know. What do you think?
Okay, so an artist drew the little girl from Spy X Family as night-skinned, and the racist people with anime profile pictures are at it again. Why do these people try to ruin anime? Spy X Family could never work with black people because a black man could never be a loving father. I'm not even reading this one out loud. Normally, this is the part where I'd say that in a show where a thirst trap marries a serial killer and raises a baby raven, you shouldn't be worried about the color of someone else's skin. Or reference that when African characters are light as day, none of these people have anything to say. But if you're really that mad about a character being night-skinned, get ready then. Lil Baby is night-skinned. Mr. Cereal Girl is night-skinned. Pumpkin Spice is gonna start wearing J's, and we're giving Tyrone Zero waves. If seeing black anime fans makes you hurt, I promise you things are about to get worse. Cause if fan art is disturbing your peace, you'll really need therapy when our original shows get released.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because the only people who benefit from this logic are literal racists. Everyone wants to say, why is it so important that we even know the character's race? Why can't we just watch the anime and enjoy? But nobody wants to address the actual effects of this type of mindset. I mean, I've gotten at least 20 different comments by now of people saying, why am I seeing literal Asian people be harassed and bullied for cosplaying Asian characters in anime? Why do you think when Universal Studio does an official Sailor Moon cosplay and the cosplayer is, you know, obviously Asian, because why wouldn't she be? We got people online saying, why is she Asian? Why isn't she white? Sailor Moon has blonde hair. At this point, I think I made about 5 different videos saying that racist people do not view 99% of anime characters as Asian. They view them as white. And why would they do that? Why would they view them as white? And why would they feel so comfortable telling Asian people that they can't cosplay Asian characters? It's the same reason they feel comfortable telling black people and other minority groups who they can and can't cosplay is because they feel like they have ownership over these characters. And the reason why they feel like they have ownership over these characters is because when you make characters look racially ambiguous, when you don't give them ethnical features, and when you don't make them acknowledge what they are, racists will always pick what they're not. I mean, why do you think the loudest voices against diversity in anime are never like actual Japanese people or Asian people? It's always like American white dudes, specifically the Chibi Reviews type of dudes. And it's because the more black people that you see in anime, the more Indian people, the more Hispanic people that you see in anime, more representation that you see, it ruins their little fantasy. And that's why a lot of these racists love it, because I could hate Asian people, but I could love anime because anime lets me live my little self-insert fantasy, especially with the isekais and all these other different genres. But the second you start adding real life people outside of, you know, the standard anime design, it ruins the fantasy. Which is why a lot of them use really dumb arguments to try to end conversations around race. Like in my last video when I was talking about Descaras, there were some people who left comments saying, wow, wanting representation in a Japanese cartoon, or wanting real life races in a fantasy world. And it's like, these arguments are so stupid because yeah, you can say it's a fantasy world or you can say that it's a Japanese cartoon, but they use real life culture in these stories all the time. And not only do they use real life culture, they use other people's cultures outside of Japanese culture. Like, it was so funny when racists were mad that black characters were introduced into Gachiakura, saying, oh, why would these characters be black? Obviously, they're just some type of Asian. And it was just so funny to see because not only were black characters being introduced into the story, but also black culture. Like, that beat that everybody was loving on TikTok, that everybody was dancing to. That is a NOLA bounce beat. I'm from New Orleans. I can tell you that sure as hell ain't Japanese culture. NOLA bounce music was created by black Americans in New Orleans. I talked about this one before, but everybody loved the first intro to Don Da Don, and yeah, it was made by 2 Japanese dudes, but they used the Jersey Club beat. Please try to tell me that Japanese culture is Jersey Club, because it's not. That is black American culture. Or Okarun and Gigi hitting the Carlton dance in the opening, which literally gets its name from the character Carlton from the show, you know, the black sitcom. Or the many times that rap just randomly comes up in, you know, some slice of life anime, some romance anime. Who created rap music? I can tell you it wasn't the Japanese. And I just list off the black culture that I see in anime because it might be hard for some of y'all to believe, but I am black, so it's very easy for me to spot. But anime has a well-documented history of using other people's culture from many different groups and many different regions. I mean, I literally said in my last video when I was talking about Descaras that, like, I've never read Ichi the Witch, and one look at her, I see culture all up and down her character design. Like, there were some people literally trying to argue that her hair wasn't a cultural hairstyle. So no, it's not crazy to say that anime should acknowledge what a character is, especially when they're doing something outside of, you know, the standard anime character design. And the whole, oh, it's just fantasy, or oh, it's a Japanese cartoon. Yeah, that doesn't fly. That argument doesn't work, especially when you're using real life culture and you're using culture that isn't yours. But I have noticed the only people who tend to think it's not that deep, or, you know, say that, well, the culture thing doesn't really matter, tend to be the people who, you know, don't have that much of it, or racist.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you liked the video, please support our channel by subscribing, leave a like and a comment in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a beautiful day. Bye.